Hey guys, I thought today I would film a July favorites video. It has been so long since I've done one of these, so I hope you guys like it. I thought I would talk through my favorite fashion pieces of the month, also my favorite beauty pieces and some lifestyle favorites as well. I'm going to start with fashion, and the first thing that I've been absolutely loving this month is also my newest purchase, and it is this Lover skirt. I love that this is made out of this super thick cotton canvas, and then it has this really bold, almost artistic leopard print to it. I actually tried this on a few months ago when I went to the Lover boutique, and I was actually tossing up between purchasing this skirt and another one, which I ended up buying the other skirt at the time. This one just kind of stayed in the back of my mind though. I couldn't really let it go, and when I found it on sale and also with an additional 20% off, it kind of seemed like a bit of a no-brainer. I really do love how thick the cotton is and the length as well. I think it's a really good one for wearing across multiple seasons. So this is the kind of skirt because it does have that black base that I can wear with tights in the winter time, but then I can wear with bare legs in the summer. I can throw a really nice cozy knit with this as well because there's enough room waistband, or I can tie the waist a little bit tighter and then have it with a little body or something like that for the summer. So absolutely been loving that. It's so ladylike, and it definitely feels like a bit of a shift back to some of the styles that I used to wear a couple of years ago as well, which I'm definitely finding is a bit of a comfort zone for me. Then my next fashion favorite is a handbag. It is this gorgeous half moon bag from Kuyana. This is one of their classic styles, but they kind of did it in an elevated version in this mock croc leather. I was gifted this very kindly by the brand, although I'd actually been eyeing it up myself. I have a little bit of an obsession with mock croc. I'm not sure what it is. I also purchased for autumn a really beautiful mock croc leather bag from Oroton, which I'm going to put a picture of here if you'd like to kind of see what that one looks like. And I do alternate between the two, but I just find this one a little bit easier to use. It is so simple to get in and out of because it has a magnetic closure, which is a really strong magnet, and then you just got a open compartment like that, and there is a little pocket at the back, which is usually where I put a smaller kind of card, or I put receipts or something like that in there. But this is just a great grab and go. You can wear it crossbody, you can wear it across the shoulder, or else you can actually tuck the straps in and wear it like a clutch as well, which I think is really neat. So that has been one of my favorites this month. Then I want to talk about two sweater favorites. They're actually both from Everlane, but they're kind of the ones that I've been wearing the most. Don't worry, I've also been giving a lot of love to my other sweaters, including my Joseph one and my Mott and Bow one. But the first one that I want to mention is this cashmere crew neck in the ribbed design, and I adore this. This has a similar kind of a fit to the alpaca sweater, however it is slightly shorter, but it does have those balloon type sleeves, which I personally love because it gives a bit of volume to the sweater. And I love the fact that this has a really relaxed fit to it as well. I have had a few comments from you guys because one of the things I always used to recommend from Everlane was their $100 cashmere cruise, because when I first purchased mine, and mind you this was when the brand first launched probably 5 years ago now, or you know, around that time, they were a lot more relaxed through the arms. The feedback I've gotten is that now they've changed the cut and they're a lot more fitted. So if you like something that's more relaxed, you will probably like this particular one. I have said this a million times, but the cashmere quality does differ between different colors and different styles at Everlane. So some of them tend to be a little bit stiffer in terms of the hand feel, and some of them are really soft. This one here that I have got is really soft, and I love it. It's just so cozy, and it's been a really great winter companion. The other sweater is one that I bought last year, and it has just been such a great throw on. I do wear a lot of black in the colder months. I know it's boring, but I just love it, and it's easy to get dressed in. I always feel classic and stylish. It is this black turtleneck sweater in a cotton, so this is a really great option if you find wool really itchy. And I did notice that they have restocked this because for a while it was out of stock on the website. It's kind of a boxy fit. I love the fact that this one actually doesn't nip in at the waist. It does have the split hem detail, so you can tuck it in, do a half tuck, and then have the back loose, which I kind of really like that look. But this is a pretty heavyweight cotton, and if I'm really cold I can just layer a little long sleeve top underneath it. No one would be any wiser, and it just looks really good with everything I pair it with, including my midi skirts as well, which I love. Then the scarf that I've been wearing quite a bit, and I mean, you guys know I love my acne scarves, is my grey one. And I just find that this is so classic. I bought this one 5 years ago. It's still going strong. I mean, there's definitely a bit of wear on the tassels, but it has held up so well. This one isn't as soft as my apricot colored one, but I still love it all the same because it is so warm, it's so cozy, and was definitely worth the purchase for me. If you have been eyeing one of these up but it is well out of your budget, Cosm and Other Stories both do very similar styles but that are a lot more affordable, and from what I've heard from the feedback, they are really good quality too. So I'm going to link those down in the description box, because I know spending over $200 on essentially a piece of fabric that you're wrapping around yourself is not in everyone's budget. Then the final kind of clothing item, I've got some shoes to talk about too, is from Country Road, and this is a double-breasted blazer, and you may have heard me mention in one of my older videos that I was on the hunt for a black double-breasted blazer. I wanted something that kind of had more of a boyfriend-ish fit, or that was really tailored. So this kind of ticks that tailored box. I really love the fact that this has a bit of a grain to the fabric as well. So if you see it up close, there is a texture to it. Maybe I can show you guys in the cutaway. And then it has these really lovely little tortoiseshell buttons, which I think are a nice contrast. I always feel so slick whenever I put this on, and it's really warm too because it is so thick, but it just makes me feel really put together, and it really elevates a lot of my outfits, which I think is what a good blazer does. Usually when I'm wearing this, I don't need to wear a coat over it as well. Mind you, our winters are really mild. I do get quite a few questions about this, but Sydney winters are really mild and you can usually bare your ankles. I personally still find them cold, but most days are probably around 15 to 17 degrees, maybe even up to 19 degrees. So we are very lucky with the weather here. So while I do some winter layering videos, it's not really what I have to wear on a daily basis. So that to me usually suffices as a nice heavyweight kind of a jacket. Then I've got 3 shoe favorites, and they're actually all flats, which is kind of surprising, but it's sort of what I live in day to day. I find them so much easier for running about in and running errands and things. The first pair I wanted to mention are the most expensive pair. They are my Dior slingback flats. I purchased these as part of my autumn wardrobe and I absolutely adore them. I'm so glad I pulled the trigger on these. I managed to find mine pre-loved. I bought them on eBay, and I am planning to do a whole video on how I shop secondhand as well, because I've had quite a few requests for it. But they were in great condition and I got them for half retail price, which I thought was really good value for money, especially for something like this, because I always feel really hesitant about spending a lot of money on shoes these days. I think I'd rather just put that money into a handbag, which I feel has better resale value. But I love these. I love what they add to my outfits. I love the little ribbon actually around the ankle, which is a little bit loud, but it definitely adds something to the look, and it just feels very feminine and very chic. If you can't extend your budget that far, then I do have a really good alternative, which I actually purchased because I wanted to test these out and see how good they were. They're from Linea Paolo and they're via Nordstrom, and I got them in the nude leather. So these have that same little bow design, and the slingback, actually let me just show you next to my Dior ones, so you can kind of see that they've got a very similar look. However, these ones are just in a full leather, and I opted for the nude just because I thought that they would be a nice alternative to the black ones. They are really great quality, they are really comfortable. I will say that they don't have tons of padding in the sole, but they do have a little bit, and I went for my true size, which was a US 9. I'm a European 40 in designer brands, and they are a little bit snug across the toe actually because I have really wide feet, but I have found that the leathers soften a little bit. It is quite stiff, kind of sturdy leather though, so you aren't going to get loads of give, so do keep that in mind. You might like to size up half a size if you have super wide feet. So that is the first shoe favorite. This next pair is probably shaping up to be my most worn pair of shoes for winter, just because I reach for them so frequently. They are ridiculously comfortable. They're the Everlane Day Glove Reknits. I've had the leather version, which I actually have got in the bedroom, and I have to say these ones are 100% worth it. Really great if you have wide feet as well. My biggest complaint with the leather version was that they kind of pinched across my foot. I found them really tight across the vamp, and it does cut in, especially as your feet swell as you wear them more and more across the day, and it just made them really uncomfortable to wear for long periods of time. However, overall I will say they're a comfortable shoe, the leather ones, but more suited for narrow feet for sure. These ones in particular, they are so comfortable, so stretchy. They've got loads of give to them, and they fit really well over my bunions, over my wide feet. I haven't had any complaints. I haven't had a single blister from wearing these, and they are so flat, really light. These are perfect for travel actually as well, because you can put them in your suitcase and they're not going to take up a lot of room, nor are they going to take up much of your suitcase space allowance. So these have been a great one. I went for the black just because I figured they would be the easiest option for me to pair with my outfits, but they do come in other colors. The only thing I will say is the design is a little bit more modern, so it has a really high cut across the vamp. So if you aren't into that, I will actually link some other ballet flat alternatives which I know are really comfortable in the description box. The final pair of shoes I want to mention are my Charlotte Olympia Kitty Flats. I absolutely adore these shoes. I first bought them 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Quite a long time now, when Luke and I went to Europe on quite a long holiday, and I'd actually called up the Charlotte Olympia store because it was just going to be too expensive to ship them to New Zealand, and I got them to put them on hold for me, and we found our way to the store. It was kind of a bit tricky to find, and I picked them up. I wore those to the ground. I just completely thrashed them. They had been stitched up on the sides. They were just so trash that Luke actually bought me a replacement pair for Christmas 2 years ago. And I love them so much. I actually need to get mine sold because I haven't sold these ones yet, but I've been reaching for them quite a bit just because they are super comfortable and they really look chic, especially with jeans or trousers. And I actually like how they look with a lot of skirts as well. So they have been a really great option for me. Velvet is probably more of a wintry type of fabric, I suppose, and because we haven't had too many rainy days in Sydney, these have been a good one for when I want something a little bit jazzy. Alright, so let's talk beauty. The first thing I want to talk about is my cleanser, which I've been using for the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks if memory serves me. This is from Alabache, and this is the Rinse Off Cleansing Milk. What I love about this is that it is super gentle. It doesn't really feel like it is too harsh or like it's kind of removing too much oil or anything like that from my skin, but I always feel like my skin has been nicely cleansed after I've used this. I will say this is not the most effective makeup remover though in terms of eye makeup, so I usually do a double cleanse. I'll use another cleanser to remove my eye makeup and then I go on with this over my whole face. Then when it comes to makeup, I have been really loving my base products at the moment, and I've got a few which I find have been making my skin look really nice. So the first thing, and this is so expensive, I'm really sorry, I will link some other alternatives that are less expensive in the description box, is from La Mer, and this is their Hydrating Illuminator. I love using this before I put any other base products on just because it adds a little bit of extra hydration, but it also adds this beautiful luminosity. It is almost like a white cream when you squeeze it out of the tube, but I find it just dispenses really nicely onto the face. It blends out so I don't have any white cast on my skin, although I am quite fair, so I can't really speak to whether this would work for deep skin tones. I'd maybe try and get a sample if you want to try this out, but it's just so beautiful. It's really subtle, and it's actually the type of product that I'm quite happy to wear on its own if I want to have a no makeup day. So absolutely love that, and it just, I think, creates a really nice base for the rest of my makeup. And in terms of foundation, I always find it really hard to buy new foundation because I'm really particular. I'm so fussy because I want my skin to look like skin. I also don't always love super high coverage, but I think part of it's also because I just feel like it can be a little bit difficult to get the correct color match sometimes too, because I have more of a yellow olive green undertone to my complexion. This one, however, I really love. It is from Dior and it is their Backstage Face and Body Foundation. I wear the shade 2WO. I adore this. I think it's great because you can apply it. It's just got a little squeezy tube. I think it's kind of similar to MAC Face and Body in that respect. I like that it's kind of more of a lighter to medium coverage. It really helps to kind of cover up any imperfections, but I still feel like my skin looks like skin. It doesn't look like I've got any product on my skin when I use this. And after a few hours, when it's sort of wearing in, it just looks a little bit dewy and glossy. And that's kind of how skin looks after a few hours, especially if you've been out in the sun or you've kind of been exerting yourself. So I love this. I love the natural finish of it, and I tend to apply this either with my hands or with a brush. So that has been my base favorite. I've been pairing that foundation with a new to me concealer as well, and it's from Marc Jacobs. This is their Accomplice concealer. I think it was recently launched. I've got the shade Medium 33, which is a really good color match in terms of covering up blemishes. I like to use this with a brush. So normally I would probably apply something like this directly to my skin and then blend it out with my fingers or a beauty blender, but I've really shifted towards using brushes for most base products now, and yeah, it's a really good color match for me. I find it really helps to cover up any redness. This is super full coverage, and because it is quite a thick product, I prefer to apply this before I have put on my foundation because I find that that looks a little bit more natural. So I will use this to cover up the darkness or sallowness that I've got in my inner corners. I also get redness around here and also here as well, which is due to dermatitis and eczema. Thanks, Dad. But this is just a beautiful product, and a little goes a long way. You don't need to use a lot, but you can build it up. So if you're trying to cover up a pretty dark red patch, this will do the trick. And I feel like it looks really good as well. Then also from Marc Jacobs, I've got one of their bronzers, and oh my god, these are amazing. This is the Mega Bronze Coconut Perfect Tan in the shade Tantalize, and I think this was part of a limited edition. This is what it looks like. It's such a huge pan. You can kind of see that next to my face. You get a lot of product in here. I think there's 25 grams. So this is going to last a long time. This reminds me a lot of when I was younger. I used to go out and I would buy the biggest bronzer that I could find, and it would last me the entire year. So, or even longer than that. I used to apply bronzer over my entire face because I didn't wear foundation. It was probably the biggest makeup mistake that I've ever made. But anyway, going back to this product, I love this powder. It is so lightweight, so finely milled. I find when I put it on my face, you can't really detect that there's powder on my skin. It just beautifully warms it up, and I think adds a really natural sun-kissed, almost like I've been on a tropical vacation kind of a glow. It smells amazing too. It also has a really big mirror too, so that's really handy if you're traveling, because then you've got this with you when you are on the go. I've also got two lipstick favorites. One is what I'm wearing right now, and I'm really into peachy nudes right now. This is from Becca and is the Ultimate Lipstick Love in Yours Truly, and I'm really so excited. This funny feeling this was limited edition. I received this when I went to a Sephora event, and I remember they had a collaboration with Khloe Kardashian and Malika, so this might have been part of that, but it's just a really beautiful shade. It's so creamy, thick, really pigmented. I've got a few other lipsticks from Becca that I like as well, so 100% rate them. I've actually got a really lovely matte red lip from Becca as well that I need to wear more. Then, because I have been loving wearing a bold red lip, I feel like it's a really easy way to mix up your makeup look. I've been reaching for my Tomforde Wild Ginger lip color a lot, and this is just stunning. It's such a sensational red. It is an orange based red, which I find works best on my skin tone, even though I would probably think a cooler tone red would work better, but it is just beautiful. If I'm wearing a red lipstick, it's probably going to be this. It has a really nice full coverage kind of color, really pigmented, really nice and creamy, doesn't dry out my lips at all. It's just beautiful. It is super expensive though, so I would say if you're looking for an alternative that is a bit more affordable, MAC's Lady Danger is a really similar kind of color to this. Not quite the same, but I would say that the quality of MAC lipsticks is fantastic. I've always had really good experiences with them, so I would recommend that if you can't afford buying Tomforde lipsticks. They are really expensive. Then the last beauty favorite I wanted to mention is a perfume favorite, and I have to admit I have so many perfumes and quite often I forget to put them on, but this one is just so spicy and kind of wintry, and I don't know, it makes me feel a bit cozy. It is from Sylvain Delacourt, and she used to be the I guess like fragrance director or creative director at a fragrance brand. I'm trying to remember, maybe it was Guerlain or something like that. I will leave the details down below, but this is what the bottle looks like. It's so big and really heavy and weighty, and oh my god, it's so gorgeous. This is Vangelis, and it's got a really beautiful vanilla kind of I guess undertone to it, but it's really spicy, and I just think it's really beautiful for winter. I'm really bad at explaining the fragrances, but if you do ever want to try any of these out, because I believe it's all online only, you can purchase a sample of the two collections that there are, and I think it's something like €5, so not super expensive, and then you do have the product samples. Then I just want to talk about some other kind of lifestyle favorites, and let's start with the thing that I've been doing so much, which is playing my Nintendo DS. This is what they look like. If you don't know this already, I'm a massive gamer. I got my first computer when I was like 5 years old. My dad gave an old laptop to my grandparents for me to play with, and I used to play Dig Dug on that. Then Mum bought me a computer when I was 6. And our family friend put on 50 games or something. So I had the most bizarre collection of games. I had Doom and Duke Nukem and Wolfenstein 3D. Super into games. Then I got into PlayStation, and obviously I got into Pokemon at a young age as well. I think it came out when I was 9 years old, so I was super into that. And I'm now playing Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. So I never played this particular one. I played Sapphire on Game Boy Advance, it must have been, and I sold that forever ago, but my brother was saying to me that he thought that this iteration of it was really great. He's really into Pokemon as well, and so I decided to get it, and I am so loving it. It feels so nostalgic for me, and I know there's a new Pokemon game coming out towards the end of this year, which is for Switch, which I have a Switch as well, and I am looking forward to getting that, but I know that not every single Pokemon can be transferred to it, so you won't be able to complete your national dex. Anyway, if you don't like Pokemon or you're not familiar with this, then that is going to just sound like gobbledygook to you. But anyway, I am loving it. I'm really loving revisiting my Nintendo DS. So that has been one of my favorites this month. And the final favorites I want to mention are two homewares favorites. The first one is in this room that I'm filming in right now, which is our spare bedroom. I decided to actually give our linen in here a refresh. I feel like I felt for a really long time that parts of our home haven't been super homey, and I really wanted to kind of create more of a warm and inviting vibe into our spare bedroom for when we have people come and stay. So I refreshed our bed linen, and it actually was really inexpensive. I think I purchased it from Target. It was either Kmart or Target. I will link it down below, and it's just beautiful. It's this gorgeous sort of burnt red color, and it is so stunning. It just really has changed the entire feel of the room, and I think made it look a lot more inviting. I also bought a new cushion from there as well, just because I felt like it went with the whole theme, and then I've got a older cushion from Sly that's on the bed, but I love that whole combination. I just feel like it works really well, and it's just completely changed the feel of this bedroom. The other favorite is in the study, and it is my Ikea Stockholm 2017 cabinet. I've gotten a lot of questions about this cabinet, especially because you probably will have seen it in the background of some of my videos, and this was something that I wanted for years. I remember when it first came out, I put it on my wish list, but I just dilly-dallied for too long, and it sold out before I could purchase it. And I kept kind of refreshing on the website, and eventually I just came to the realization that it was a limited edition piece. It would never be coming back, until I saw it on the website. For some reason I was just browsing, I think it was in the new in section, and I was like, oh my god, it's come back. And I went on this entire mission. I had to drive all the way back to Marsden Park to actually purchase it. But I'm so pleased with it. I think it's just a really beautiful rattan. It's really lovely quality. It was pretty simple to make as well, and it just adds a really nice kind of earthy element into that study space. There's definitely some other things that we want to do. We're looking at changing up the flooring and also putting maybe some shiplap or something like that on the walls, but we want to do some other renovations in the study, kind of turning it into a fourth bedroom essentially. So I'm not really sure, in terms of the walls at least, whether we'll be doing that anytime soon, but hopefully we'll be doing the flooring, so it will have more of that natural earthy kind of a vibe. Oh, and I also have one more thing to mention, which was a book favorite, and this is the book that I finished in July, and it is The Everything Store, Jeff Bezos and the Age of Amazon. I really enjoyed reading this. This was a recommendation from an acquaintance, and I'm so glad that she recommended this to me. It was really fascinating. If you want to learn more about Amazon and how it essentially became the Everything Store, then this is a really good resource. I like the fact that it's not biased. It's not kind of geared towards Jeff Bezos is so great, because actually he is a ruthless leader, and there is a reason why he is the richest man in the world. But it's just really fantastic. It does actually end, I want to say, around 2014. So the last few years it doesn't have any kind of information on, but I do think this is very fascinating. I was listening to a podcast recently that was kind of questioning whether or not Amazon should now be broken up into 3 separate businesses, which was Amazon Logistics, Amazon the store, and then also Amazon Web Services. And I thought that was very interesting, given that I had just finished reading this. So a really good read if you do enjoy non-fiction. So those were all of my favorites this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would absolutely love to know what you have been adoring in the month of July, and I will see you guys next time with a brand new video. See you soon. Bye.